So, my first pick in terms of nostalgic TV is Home Improvement. We got the 1990s. We got Tim Allen, who just had his hit special that kind of made him a very small cultural icon, enough to earn him a television series. It was going to be called Tool Time, and then they changed it and decided, oh, well, it'll be about a show named Tool Time, but it'll be about the life of Tim Allen. And what are we going to call it? Home Improvement. And so, thus, the show was born. And I couldn't tell you when it ran to, but basically, in my house, I actually took a picture of it, too, when I got home today. I went over to my parents' place. And I grew up with a lot of DVD collections because my parents, I was born in 97, so I didn't get to watch the show on television or on syndication, I should say. However, I did watch, I think we had the first 4 seasons on DVD, and it was a very great, just fun show to watch as a kid and growing up and sticking into the DVD player. And there's some I watch in syndication, which I will mention later, but I'll tell you what, this show, I mean, I think it's mostly part for Tim Allen because of his comedy, and I like his style. It's kind of gruff and manly, and that's kind of his shtick, You don't really see a whole crazy amount of it in Toy Story, but Toy Story kind of exploded his career. Like, Tom Hanks was really super popular, right? And so was Tim Allen. However, when Toy Story came out in 95, it kind of just made them mega stars. Like, they were already movie stars, now they're mega stars, and so then it carried forward after that. So anyway, growing up watching the show, such a great, wonderful 90s television. Can't remember the chick who plays the mom, but I think she's a highlight as well of the show. I think the characters especially. You got the classics like Wilson, who gives advice to Tim, because the show's basically about this, for those who haven't watched it, it's about Tim Allen, just goes by Tim in the show. He's the dad of a family of 3. Or, let's see. Yeah, 3 kids. And sure enough, he has this show where he sells tools on some Detroit television station. And then you see his home life as well. And a bunch of comedy ensues because pretty much he doesn't know what he's doing a lot of the time. Or he gets a little carried away with his tools and his comedy shticks that he carried over from his special, like more power and grandma driving with the wheel over her head. And you can actually find his first big special on YouTube, and I watched it. And so it's hilarious. It's so funny. And it's also very much of the time. Like, I don't think there's some things you could get away with saying in there today, but that's just part of the special thing of comedy. I mean, if you go into anything past probably 2010, you can see a lot of stuff that's just super great and funny and hilarious that, is not really approved of everybody. That doesn't matter, but that's because that's what comedy is, and it's lovely. So, David, before I continue, are you familiar with Home Improvement? Have you ever watched it?
Oh, yes. I watched it a ton growing up. You mentioned not knowing the name of the person who played the mom. It's
I can look it up, I think.
It's like, well, it was like, I know it. And then as soon as you said it, I was going to say it. And then it
left
blanked. It just left, went away from me. It's like, I think it's Patricia something.
It's Patricia something. Here we go. Oh, I had it right there. Patricia Richardson.
Yes. Okay. That's actually what I was thinking. And I was like, but for whatever reason, it sounded wrong. But no, that's who it was. Yeah, I don't know. I watched it a ton growing up, just because my dad was he was kind of what you'd call a sort of jack of all trades, sort of handyman kind of a person.
Yeah.
Like, he was an excellent. I say was as if he's like, dead or something. He's not. But like,
growing up, he was.
Yeah, he was an excellent auto mechanic. And he was an excellent auto mechanic, and he also dabbled in pretty much every sort of like kind of handyman sort of work you could think of, electrical, carpentry, plumbing. Just he was, automobiles were his specialty, but he was kind of like, sort of like was, proficient in pretty much every area of like repair and all that. So I think so he really liked the show, so he put it on a lot. So I ended up just watching it a lot as a kid. And it's funny. It's like it's definitely like when I was a kid, I was like, I didn't dislike it, but it was like, this was like, it was a show that got put on because, Dad liked to watch it. Like I didn't seek to put on Home Improvement. But looking back on it, I definitely have fond memories of watching it. It's a really fun show.
Oh, man.
Like if you can, sort of deal with the 90s sitcom cringe.
Yeah.
Like if you can get
past whole Full House and The Nanny, then you'll be fine here.
Yeah. If you can get past that 90s sitcom cringe, then it's quite entertaining.
Yeah. The series ran from 1991, according to IMDb here. It says 1991 to 1999. Ran for 8 seasons. I actually went and bought all 8 seasons off eBay. And I got it for like $70 on eBay. Now, the kicker of this was the 8th season, like second disc or some random like that, was the disc wasn't finalized or something like that. I couldn't watch it at all. So I actually bought the 8th season not by itself. And then I fixed the issue. But after I bought it for $70, like I think it was right as COVID starting. And right afterward, like a year later, I checked it and it was like at 280.
Dang.
So it's probably come down at
what
this
a
point.
Jump.
Yeah, it's probably this underneath that at this point, but I think I checked it last year and it was like 100, maybe 120. So not too bad. Like I think paying $100 for the whole show, 8 seasons, that's worth it. That way you can have it. And I want to look up where to stream it, but it's interesting also, real quick while I look that up, Tim Allen. So everybody that was in all 203 episodes, you have Tim, Wilson, the guy who's Wilson, Tarano Smith, who plays Mark, Zachary Ty Bryan, who's Brad, Patricia Richardson, who's the mom, Richard Curran, who's Al, were in all 203 episodes. And then...
Wait, was Jonathan Taylor Thomas not in all?
It says only 181 for some reason, which I remember because for some reason I remember him being missing in quite a few episodes, just as I'm watching it.
I mean, I never sat down and watched the series back to front, so I may have missed something, but I'm
surprised. I thought
I don't
he'd be in every
remember
single
him
one.
being in.
I'm surprised Al's in every single one.
Well, I mean that makes sense because Al, Richard Karn's character, was Tim's co-host on the show Tool Time. And what's really funny to me is this is just another example of like sitcoms that star known comedians. Like they always, their character has their own first name, but a different last name. That always confused me.
Yeah, I'm very confused as well.
I mean, it's like, what was the last name of the family in Home Improvement? It wasn't Allen. It was Taylor. Yeah, it was Taylor.
Yeah, it was Taylor.
Because he was Tim the Toolman Taylor.
Yes, Tim the Toolman Taylor.
So yeah, it was just so weird to me to see shows that clearly are clearly riding the star power of a known stand-up comic, who usually was turned actor in some
kind of way.
Capacity at that point already. And they make a point to name the character after the comic who's playing them, but then they changed the last name. It's always
very
so
strange.
weird to me.
Yeah. I think it's funny because you look at stuff like I think whatever Martin Lawrence's show was, he was called Martin, and that was, that was it. And then I think that was a different last name. And then also King of Queens, you had Mr. Paul Blart, can't remember his name, Kevin James, and I think he was a different last name as well.
I don't remember that show well enough, but like
King of Queens.
Did you ever watch Reba?
Yeah, I did watch Reba.
Yeah, so it starred Reba McEntire. She wasn't a stand-up comic, but like it starred Reba McEntire, and she was named Reba in the show.
Just call her Reba. Yeah.
But she had a different last name. Yeah, it was very strange.
Yeah, I think that went on for like 4 or 5 seasons or something crazy like that. So, yeah, but yeah, Home Improvement. I want to say, so I grew up watching the first 4 seasons, and that's all we had, and that's all my mom had in her like DVD collection. I can show you a picture of it, David, as we get along here. It also might be somewhere along in one of these highlights. But anyway, yeah, let me tell you, it was this DVD cabinet I'm showing you right now that had all the live action shows and series in it. You got like the Young Indiana Jones adventures in there. You got Wonder Woman. You got all the Stargates, early collections of SNL. Just a bunch of random stuff in there. And I would go through and watch some stuff. Growing Pains is in there. Perfect Strangers is in there. Actually, Perfect Strangers is I used the theme song to intro Steven on our Follow Anywhere Peak Analysis, where the song's like, standing tall on the waves of my dreams, or whatever cringy 80s like lyrical stuff's going on in that song. But anyway, I love that song. It's in all its ages cringe. But yeah, I then purchased the other seasons later, and I just watched a bunch. I think I watched beginning to like season 7. Like I think I stopped middle of season 7, and I was almost done. And that was like 2021 or whatever, like a couple years ago. But man, let me tell you, it was a fun time. And my parents always said, we didn't like season 5 and 6 and et cetera and whatever. And I'm like, okay, and I got that's basically their answer whenever we were missing something. Like, oh, we like the first season, we don't like the rest. Same thing with SNL. Oh, the first 4 seasons are great, or the first 3 or 2 or whatever, and we don't have the rest because they get real nasty later on, when in reality, if you look at season 1 and 2, they get pretty vulgar.
I mean, yeah, they're pretty consistent.
Yeah, so I don't know what I think they're just saying like, hey, that's why we don't have them, so whatever, but then there's like, oh, we have season 1, 2, and then 4 of this random show. Oh, season 3, I think my mom would say, oh, we just season 3 was not good, and then we just didn't have season 3, so.
That's funny.
It was funny. And so that's why I grew up watching it. And I love this show so much. It's so fun. It feels like a little warm blanket when I wrap my mind around it and watch it and sit down and just have a grand old time. And for those curious about watching it and giving it a shot, it's on Apple TV to purchase, but it's also on Hulu and Netflix to stream if you really want to go out of your way, and Disney Plus. So it's like, pick your litter. It's on all of them. So God bless the whole rights holders. I'm sure they're making some of that dough. So anyway, you can watch, starting on March 4th, you can watch it on Plex for free, David. That's tomorrow at 2 p.m. Pacific to our time. Tomorrow at 2 p.m. On my lunch break, I could watch some Home Improvement. Or I can just watch my ripped MP4s of it. Anyway, delightful show. What was your opinion on Wilson, by the way?
Wilson, he was a good character. He was kind of like your, because every good story has some kind of like, sort of some character that the protagonist can learn lessons from, and Wilson filled that role pretty nicely. His sort of back and forth with Tim over the backyard fence was like, it filled the role of imparting wisdom to Tim, but it was also entertaining because like just clearly Wilson's like knowledge about life and the world in general far outstripped Tim's, and Tim often comically misunderstood the lessons that Wilson was trying to give him. Also you had the whole like weird mystery angle, where you could never see like the lower half of his face.
Yeah. That was a funny shtick that I don't know what it is. I don't watch any modern TV shows that are released nowadays. Not a whole lot, and also it's very different. But also, there's not that many funny little shticks like that or cute little characteristics you find about, just in modern television, I would say. You don't have, he's just some guy we know. And then, there's this mysterious thing about never seeing the bottom half of his face for some reason,
Yeah.
It's just, I find it really funny. And also I was thinking about this today, and I think it's funny if you watch each episode accordingly, and a lot of series do this, so it's not anything new, but they all have a formula every episode. And basically I'd equate it to the hero's journey. Every single Home Improvement episode is the hero, Tim, trying to get the winning approval of his love, also known as Jill, and also trying to go through his journey of life, managing, whatever. Maybe it's the show, maybe it's the kids, it's whatever finagling little disaster that happens associated with one of those things, or his wife, or what have you. And then at the lowest point of his character in each episode, he goes to seek counsel from Wilson, our old wise sage character. And then the episode ends, and well, then there you go. Most things are resolved. There's a hug and a kiss and a I'm sorry and I forgive you, and then episode ends pretty much. But yeah, it's just some of that wholesome 90s love that, it's just enjoyable, and you don't see a whole lot nowadays, and you kind of have to open up a time capsule to go back to. So, but I think honestly, that's the strongest part of the show is Tim's faults and him finding a resolution at the end. I think that's the strongest part of it. Like him just being a blundering, not stupid, but he makes a lot of mistakes and thinks he knows a lot. And then he gets humbled. And I think that's probably the strongest part of the show for me. And a thing that I really like about it, as well as I think the weakest part of the show, David, and hear me out, or at least I want to hear what you think, because I think the weakest part of the show for me is honestly the theme, the opening. I think it's not very catchy. I don't sing to it. It's nothing special. It's kind of just, okay, the episode's starting, and it's kind of like abrasive, and then we're in it.
Well, I mean, it's
kind of different for the time.
It's kind of the thing. It's kind of.
It does have those 90s flutes in there.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing that, like, in that time period, they're like, they're like they're trying to do something different with it. You just wouldn't have, like, you don't see anything like that now, but like you wouldn't have necessarily seen like anything like that then. And also, it's just had a lot of fun little details in it. Like, I'm pretty sure the entirety of the opening is stop motion.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
In fact, now that I think about it, it's very, very similar in tone and feel to certain sections of the music video for Sledgehammer by Peter Gabriel.
Yeah.
So I don't know this for sure, but now that I'm thinking about it, they were probably influenced by that. And that's probably why it feels so weird is, having a 90s sitcom about a hyper macho blundering dad, who works with power tools. And then your opening scene is influenced by Peter Gabriel. Like, I can see how it would have, felt really weird compared to the rest of the show. But I never had any problems with it. Mm-hmm. But you're right, it is kind of like tonally distinct from the show itself.
All right, so the song in the opening is called Iron John's Rock, and it was written and composed by Dan Folliart.
I don't know who that is.
Whatever. Yeah, no, that's interesting. But yeah, I think it's just it kind of fits with the show, but it's also, I think it's kind of different from other television of the time. Like either it's a really cheesy 80s song that was custom made for the theme, or it's some kind of also cheesy late 80s song like Full House. Everywhere you go, everywhere you know. It's like really kind of dumb in hindsight, you know, stupid with maybe 1.5 O's, you know. And then I don't know. I think I like the theme actually. I like those 90s flutes. It was so funny. So it was funny how you were watching the show you'll probably bring up later on as I got home today. But on the way home, David, randomly I was in my Spotify liked playlist, like all my like songs, and it was just on shuffle. And sure enough, as I pull in the driveway, I hear dun, 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 and I'm like, oh, this is perfect. We're meant to record this podcast tonight. So it was the theme, just randomly on there.
That's funny.
So yeah, check out Home Improvement. It's a classic.